So, welcome to the Digital Business and Innovation Talk for the Information Evening. Hope you guys are doing well. So, I'll just make sure everything's working. So, over the last couple of years, really 15 years or so, you've seen an accelerated technology evolution throughout the world. So, even back in 2010, there's 1.83 connected devices per person. Now in 2025, we're looking at 9.27. So as you can see, the growth in terms of like technology use is there. So why choose this course? Over 90% of jobs require digital skills. However, only 54% of the adult population in Europe have basic digital skills. So we are going to try and aim to plug those, and I'll talk a bit about that later. So 78% of SMEs, so small medium enterprises in the EU, find it difficult to recruit workers with the right skills, and that was back in 2023. Why choose this course? Opportunity. So there's going to be various different opportunities. And some of the articles that point this out in terms of the importance of digital skills is Slack, who are a communication platform. They kind of shut down for a week their operations just so staff could get trained. And then even articles talking about how Ireland's not keeping pace with digital skills. And this is really back in 2010. This kind of was a catalyst for the creation of this program. It's a very new program. We were the first cohort for the last 4 years. So 4 years ago, it was created. And yes, so it's a very new course, very relevant as well. So digital skills gap. More than 1/3 of the EU's labour force lack digital skills and required in most jobs. And as you can see here, there's so many different statistics. I'm not going to bore you too much with them, but there really is a lack of digital skills in the world and in Europe. And this is kind of feeding into where the jobs are going to be created in the future. And even there at the bottom, less than 20% of ICT specialists and graduates are women. So there's also that kind of gender split as well. I don't know if you guys know this, but 56% of the world's people in university are women, and then the other 44% are men. So there's actually more women globally in universities than men. That's the kind of the split. And we're kind of seeing now with the course itself, digital business innovation, we have that kind of split going kind of closer to the middle, 50-50. And even as well as that, the students in the course come from a diverse background in terms of, we have some international students as well, which is brilliant for perspective and group projects and that sort of thing. So DBI, plugging the digital skills gap. So how do we actually fix the previous slide in terms of like this actual identified skills gap? A deep focus on in-demand digital skills is what this course is tailored to. It's a novel, immersive experience, and there's deep engagement with industry. I'll talk a little bit about that later. So there's a consultancy company, Accenture, and they come in and do a lot of work with our course too, including some of the design elements, cross-cultural virtual collaboration, which we'll talk a bit about, and then 15% online delivery too. So in terms of the immersive learning experience, there's so many different opportunities here. So we've got the Column Delve mixed reality classroom on campus in the DCU business building. There's cross-cultural collaborative opportunities with Babson College. They're the #1 university in the world for entrepreneurship and student-led podcasts. So there's me in the middle with the team. The digital business and innovation students have their own podcast in 4th year. So you can kind of interview a guest and kind of learn a bit more about a topic, which is really interesting. It's co-created with Accenture, some of the content. So they're one of the biggest consultancy firms in the world in terms of tech innovation. And they have a lot of input into actually what is being taught in the course, which is really exciting too. So towards a transformative assessment. So we're kind of moving away with this course from the traditional exams and moving more into active kind of learning experiences for assessment. So even gamification, virtual reality, virtual collaboration, hackathons, which are kind of like you work on a project with teams and kind of come up with solutions, kind of like entrepreneurship stuff, and even e-portfolios where you reflect on some of the amazing learning experience that you do. But it really is more on the practical side of courses, moving away from that terminal exams as well, which is really exciting as well, and really is there to reflect industry as well. So that's brilliant too. So Elite First Movers, as I said before, this is a very new course. And it's really reimagining the student experience. So there's a couple of different accreditations and awards the course received, which are there on the right too. And then the objectives, I'm not going to go into them too much because I kind of cover those in the end. So what you'll actually study if you do go into the digital business and innovation course at DCU. So year one, you're going to be looking at kind of more your foundational stuff. If you didn't do the likes of accounting and stuff in secondary school, there's like accounting 101, economics to really get a grasp on some of these basic concepts, which is really useful too. And then transform yourself, self-awareness, that kind of runs throughout. That's kind of about building your career, where you want to be, that kind of thing, and does some tests and personality tests to see what kind of industry you'd be suited for, and really kind of help you figure out what you want to do when you get to the end as well, and even during your work placement in third year, which is here as well. And then second year, you're looking at kind of more practical modules as well. So digital labs and digital marketing, critical thinking for business. We have a failure module, which is really interesting, and how to really bounce back, look at some of the biggest failures in business, where they went wrong and how they would improve going forward, which is really interesting. And year three, you have a choice of a work placement, 12-month work placement, or Erasmus, so you can go abroad as well to study, which is really exciting. And so that's really a fantastic way to build up your CV too, to actually have 12 months built in paid work placement or the choice of Erasmus. So that third year is really valuable as well to students. And then year four, I'm currently in year four, and we're going through the action stage. So digital business leadership, conscious innovation, data analytics is a theme throughout. We kind of go into more depth on data analytics in fourth year, and then this transform yourself future-proof module as well. So opportunities, there'll be various different opportunities to network, socialize, travel, charity, kind of do a lot of things outside of class too. So the lecturers are really supportive of forwarding on various different ideas. Like I've been to France during the summer. One of my lecturers pointed out to me as part of a European funded project, which was fantastic. Last October, I believe, I went to Berlin, and that was also a fantastic experience. That was these up here, and we got to run, and here as well. And then we got to run the DCU charity swap shop. So there's a chance there for kind of charity work too. And then even down here, like projects with the likes of HP, where you're pitching to real companies. And again, speaking back to real companies, we've got the opportunity to actually visit Accenture's dock space. So Accenture really do look after our course in terms of actually giving feedback and directly to the students on what industry is actually doing at the moment and will be doing in the future, which is really useful, again, due to that practical kind of nature where you're actually doing stuff that's going to affect your role in the future, and gives you a practical way to actually put the theory and make it stick in your head and put it into practice too. And then the bottom left as well, during my time at KKR, I got the opportunity to visit the team over in New York, which was a fantastic experience too. So the digital quotient, so foresight, insight, action, there's various different things within the digital quotient. So this is really looking at the technology side, analytics, you're looking at digital business models, digital business labs, the intra Erasmus experience feeds into that, digital leadership and change. So really this is kind of more of the digital side of things, and then connecting that with the human side. So it's really bridging the human and the technical side, which is really, really important. And with this kind of world of accelerated technology, with AI, social media, everything being so influential and moving forward, you can just see even cloud computing. There's various different technologies, VR, and different technologies affecting various different industries. So the human quotient is really important to kind of be grounded and actually make sure that we can kind of figure out what we're going to do in terms of our career, which is really, really good opportunity to think and reflect too. So the potential careers then, there's really a lot of different ones. So even there at the bottom, it says many don't exist yet. And like even during your work placement, like I went and did KKR, I went to KKR as an intern. But there's so many different opportunities, even with the likes of Accenture, and some are going back to the likes of PwC, and there's eBay, Google. But even the role itself, so you're looking at analysts, consultants, it's very broad. And this foundation that you're going to get from the course, which I'll feed into here, is really a foundation of business management and really an understanding of technology as well. So it's really pairing those with the foundation of understanding what you would be taught in a regular business course, and then really building on that with some of the technology aspects, the human side of things. So I wouldn't have even been confident in secondary school. Kind of, I was like, oh, I wouldn't be able to do a talk. But really, you do learn the skills of communication. You learn the skills of like actually being able to look at data. And then these are some of the actual summary points here. So an understanding of technology, their business, economic, and social impacts, hands-on learning experience. You obviously have that interplacement in third year, which is paid, a capacity to explore, develop, understand, enhance the basis for personal achievement, which is that kind of transform yourself module as well, and then high level of employability at the end. And that's really, really important in terms that this is something that employers are looking for in terms of the digital skills, but also kind of that business acumen. And you can kind of, as you've seen before in this previous slide, there's various different industries you can go into and various different roles too. So it's quite a broad, but also has that specialized nature within, which is really key to what separates this course too, and gives us kind of an edge too in terms of the employability for even after we're done, or the intra placement too, which is fantastic. And one of the other things I like to say here, that I had like a kind of a cheesy quote from a hockey player, Wayne Gretzky: "Go to where the puck is going and not to where it's been." So basically, that's kind of can be applied here in terms of technology. You can kind of see and already tell how influential things like AI. I don't know if you guys use ChatGPT before, but it's amazing how accelerated this technology is going. You're seeing kind of that 1 billion devices to like 9.37 billion this year. The way technology is going, AI, all these different things, it's going to be vital to understand these in the future, and even have that ability to continue learning even after you're done, and being able to kind of learn those key skills and build on those in the future is going to be really vital to your career, even past when you finish the course. So thank you very much for listening. This is kind of the conclusion. I have about 5 minutes set aside for time in terms of answering any questions you guys may have on the course. Anything even about the points. I know the points I think are like 464 this year, which is quite good. And yeah, thanks very much for listening. You can reach me here on my email, and I can refer you to different people within DCU if you have any further questions and you don't want to stick them in the chat at the moment. And if you have any more questions about actual student life, DCU is really a fantastic university. Hopefully you guys are looking at other courses too, and not just digital business and innovation, because there really is a great offering amongst the different courses. There's some overlap too, in terms of some of the actual courses. So thank you very much, guys, for listening. And if you have any questions even about just DCU in general, there's also another student help at dcu.ie. So yeah, thanks, guys. I'll just wait around for another 5 minutes to see if you have any questions, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Thanks, Helen. Thanks, Nacha. Thanks, David. Is this being recorded to listen back later? I'm not too sure if it's being recorded. It looks like it is. Um, It probably will be. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me, and I can talk to you again. I know there's another couple of different ones going on. Okay, yeah, Margaret's came back and said, yeah, it is being recorded. So you can always kind of listen back to it as well. And these are just some of the key points as well that are kind of coming to mind, some general overview. There's obviously a lot more to it too. And thanks for the info. You mentioned that they're moving away from traditional exams and into dynamic assessments. What does that look like for students? Great question, Anya. So really, it's more of a practical side. So there's assessments. So team projects are something that they're building in a lot. I've seen over the years, and even the on time. So there'd be on time assessments. So you could have like 2-3 weeks to explore a topic. So even if you, I know for one of the lecture classes this year, IT and society, we were able to look at our own topic. So I did AI and disinformation. So I don't know if you guys know like deep fakes and that kind of thing. It's getting kind of scary. So I kind of did focused on that. But you really have the capacity to explore a lot of like flexible options too. So like you'll be taught kind of a lot of the principles, a lot of the kind of broad stuff. For the likes of data analytics, it's a tiny bit more technical, but really the lectures, the way they teach it, as if you have kind of no prior knowledge, which is really useful. So they understand the student's perspective, and you'll also have peers that you can kind of study with, go to the library, you can do stuff in your own time. 15% is delivered online as well. So there'll be some videos. There could be some podcasts that lecturers refer you to. I know one of them kind of gives some trailers for Netflix movies that you watch that might be relevant for some topics. So really depending on what way you learn, you can kind of go your own direction in terms of that. But there are different styles of kind of lectures. The traditional exams are kind of pen and paper in PE hall kind of ones, and we don't have any of those. So it's fantastic. We will be hosting a spring day on campus. Date Saturday, April 5th. Yeah, thanks, Margaret. So if you want to actually get the experience of being on campus, ask more questions, and you can pop down to DCU on April 5th, which is fantastic too. And yeah, so like really looking at the dynamic assessment, I it really suits me in terms of like having that flexibility, having the time to even go through things, to look through things. Like I'm quite a slow reader, so like even just taking the time, you usually have a couple of weeks to look at topics, explore topics, do a couple of Google searches, and you'll be fascinated with some of the themes that you learn. You learn things that you never thought you would learn, and just really interesting things. And the way technology is going, it's going to continue to evolve and adapt. But in terms of the digital business and innovation course, we kind of teach how do you actually deal with adapting to those evolving technologies. You look at kind of scary topics like coding, where you've got Python, you've got SQL, you've got C++, you've got so many different languages. But this is not a coding course. We kind of teach more, although we do teach a bit of Python, SQL, and some of these languages. Um, it's to a level that we understand it enough to apply it in a real world scenario. And if another kind of language comes up, it's going to be a lot easier to piece together different aspects of those kind of new kind of coding languages if there's updates. And the nature of technology is that it's always kind of adapting. Would you need to know coding before you begin? And I would say no, Helen. So like I wouldn't have been that strong at coding at all. Like we didn't have coding in secondary school. I did a little bit of Scratch growing up in terms of like drag and drop kind of coding. It was kind of developed by MIT. But it was just kind of interesting for me. But I didn't really have a high level of coding at all, or really any level in terms of like actually being able to type and stuff. But I would say no, Alan, in terms of needing to know coding before you begin. Um, it might get a little trickier in fourth year, but really the lectures are there to tailor to students and give you the time to actually learn these different things. They've got different techniques to show you um, basically how to learn better. And that kind of feeds in a bit to Anya's point there for neuro. Neurodivergent learners, yeah. So it really does tailor to a lot of different types of students in terms of that. It's very broad in terms of understanding key business topics that are relevant no matter really what industry, what sector you look to go into, whether it's finance, whether it's healthcare. Um, there is an application for business, digital business, and innovation. And again, yeah, so neurodivergent learners, yeah. So we have a really broad amount of people in our class. Like the first cohort, we had about, I think it was 26. Now the numbers are up to like a 70. I believe the 70 range in terms of new students coming in. So it's quite a big class, but DC are really supportive in terms of like if you're struggling with something, there's the lecturers will have their office hours. You can go and meet with the lecturer and kind of talk them through what you're struggling with. Your peers are going to be there. They're probably going to be struggling with similar problems. You can always stick your hand up in class. I know that's a bit scarier. Nobody really wants to do that. But it's something that you don't really get afraid of by the end of it. It's really about learning. And when you kind of set that aside, what type of things did you do during your interplacement? Great question on you. So I worked at KKR, so they're on in the alternative asset management space. So really, it's a little bit complex to explain, but it was kind of finance orientated. I was working on the trade settlements team at KKR. So there was kind of the traders in the front office, and then there was kind of people in the back office. And me and my boss, we were kind of in the middle of that in terms of trades into vehicles for loans and bonds. I didn't know a whole lot about loans and bonds before I started, but I really did, sorry, have an interest in finance. So really, they really take in as long as you have a drive and interest in the topics, and have maybe not as much maybe experience, but if you do well in your classes, in your modules, the people who are over the intra, they'll see that, they'll recognize that on your CV when you're going for the intra placements, and you have the choice too. So if you wanted to go into accountancy consultant, there's really a broad range of things you want to do, like an eBay. I know one of the guys in my class at eBay, and he was looking at the various different technologies there. And some of the guys in PwC, like the big four accountancy firms, Grant Thornton auditing. And there's really like one of the girls, she was with an AI company, which is really interesting. But I loved kind of the finance side of things. So that's kind of the avenue I went down, even though you look at kind of digital business and innovation, it really does feed into everything, which is brilliant. Other placements assigned to you, or do you have some input into industries you go to? No, so the industries aren't assigned to you. So you have the freedom. There's like a portal. So it's similar to kind of your CEO where you have, I don't know if this is the best example, but it's similar in the sense that you can kind of choose where you want to go. You apply like you would a normal job, which is a great experience. But DCU really have lined up a lot of kind of really good companies to kind of partner with too. So like I think the input for the company like I was in, it's continuing to grow. So I think they take on about 13, 15 interns every year. So it's really good to get in these big organizations because they have the processes set up to help you learn. And that's really what it is. It's a learning experience, and you're actually able to apply some of the stuff you learn. So some of the Excel stuff in first and second year you might use if you're going to finance. Some of the kind of more people skill focused stuff you might use if you're going into a HR role or you're going into consulting. But a lot of them connect throughout everything. A lot of the skills are transferable. Um, but I'm not too sure how this one's assigned. Just going back to your question, yeah. So you have full flexibility in terms of where you want to go, and then also there's a new thing this year, with Erasmus. We didn't have the option for Erasmus, so you're lucky if you want to get that option. Are all the interplacements paid placements? Yes. So great question on you. So you won't be just working for the experience. You also do get paid. Um, it might be, there's minimum wage in Ireland, so it would be above the minimum wage, at least anyway. I was working show 5 days a week like you would a normal job. Some of the companies might have flexible hours in terms of hybrid models where you could be in the office 3 days a week and work from home 2 days, one day working from home. And there's a lot of flexibility there, but that'll kind of be shown on the portal too. So and you kind of have to go through an interview process too. So I know that's kind of scary when you think about it, but like you will have 2 years more development, so you'll be a lot more confident. There is like different classes, like workshops, where like they help you with the portal for interest. So they kind of talk you through some of the some of the companies and how valuable it can be, and some of the general stuff, and how to upload your CV. Like everything is taught. And if you have any questions, the DCU community is always really good. Like even myself, I know my email's there, but everyone at DCU, the culture is really strong in the sense that everyone helps each other. Everyone wants to see each other excel, and that's kind of one of the best things I've found about this course on my time at DCU as well. There's different sporting opportunities too, which I haven't even touched on. But DCU is a fantastic college for sport too, and even the societies and different things. So hopefully my talk spoke to you guys. If you have any questions, my email's there, and I'll try to respond as soon as I can if I see one coming in. There's different resources online. If you look up the course Digital Business Innovation, there might be some YouTube videos that pop up. As it was said, I think this is going to be recorded, and yeah, also that Saturday, April 5th, Spring Open Day on campus. I'll try to be there if I can. If they want me to be there, I'll try to show face. And yeah, thank you very much, guys, for attending. And hopefully you found the session valuable. Take care.